Recently, I started taking some Bible study courses with an online provider of Bible education. And it's been really great. It's been an experience that has taught me so much already, and I've only taken 1 or 2 courses by the time this video comes out. It's really helped me learn some key skills for how to look at the Bible, interpret the Bible, and go deeper into study, not just focusing on things that are on the surface level, but perhaps understanding more about the context, the history, what was going on, and connections with other topics, themes in the Bible, so that I can really understand what this says in the bigger picture. So that's been really great, and I've been hoping to apply it to my regular studies, but to be honest, it hasn't worked with my morning Bible studies. I wish I could say that my morning Bible studies looked like the kind of picturesque image where you wake up full of energy, you come over, spring in your step to the Bible, open it up, and it's almost like there's a bright light shining out, revealing new insights immediately where you didn't know, and you feel so inspired. But for me, like maybe for you, I wake up and I'm groggy. I stumble out of bed, I walk over and fumbly get a cup of coffee on the go, collapse on the sofa, open up my Bible, and it's just difficult. It's work, and I'm reading through it, and yeah, sometimes there's this moment of pure inspiration, and sometimes I get to the end, I just have to reread the whole thing again because my mind just wasn't awake properly at the time. And so then trying to add in, like thinking about the context of the whole thing, looking up in commentaries, or doing some background research in the morning when I'm aware that at some point my daughter's going to wake up and the day is going to begin, and we're going to be in that moment of hurry. And I don't know how long it is until that starts. That's been difficult. But I realized this last week that that's actually not a problem. That there are perhaps 2 different types of Bible study that we can do, and the morning should be perhaps different from this evening one. And I call those head study and heart study. Now, before I go into what each one is, I want to say that it's like a false polarization. They're not really on these 2 extremes, and each one has elements of the other one. And you can do a combination, or you can do more of one or more of another. And perhaps this is not true for you, perhaps you have a different approach. But I found this a useful idea, and found it beneficial for my studies. So the first one, a head study. This is when you're focused on intellectual and understanding. You're trying to learn about what this passage is saying in a deeper way, or gain full insight, how this fits in the whole big picture, what's the context. You want to really nail down some truth about it. Or it could be a topical study where you're trying to really understand, what is the Bible saying about this topic? What does it say about justice? What does it say about salvation? So there you can't just focus on one passage, you have to look at the whole big story. You have to look at multiple verses, how they fit in their context, what the commentary says on this, what perhaps reference material is. So for me, that type of study just isn't perfect for the morning because of, as I've said, time constraints, resources. I don't want to be looking at a computer screen first thing in the morning. And that's not the purpose I want to have in the morning with these morning studies. So the alternative one, I call a heart study. And instead of focusing on intellectual or understanding, this is focused on emotional and transformation. And I really think this is kind of the purpose of the morning study, for me at least, that I want to apply God's word today in my life. I want to be transformed. I want to set off the day in the right way. I've thought that the principle of like morning study or quiet times is so positive for so many reasons, and I've seen it in my own life as well. I think about like the Old Testament where they sacrificed the first fruits of the harvest, you know, the best of the harvest. And to me, that is what doing a morning study is. It's giving up, fully devoting the first part of your day to God and trusting that He will give that back. I've found that the first part of the day is a great time to get things done because you don't have the pressures of other people. You can get up before the day begins, you can make progress, you don't have interruptions going on first thing in the morning. So by choosing that to be a time with God, it is for me giving Him the most important, the best part of my day. But because of the issues of sleepiness, tiredness, it makes it harder for me to like intellectually engage, as I've said. But instead, there's that opportunity because I'm not fully awake yet, because I'm not, my mind's not racing with all these fears, worries, or things of the world. It is a chance to have a deeper experience, to be more profoundly impacted by the word, by what I'm reading. And so that's why I think of it as like a heart study. The purpose is to like affect the heart and to set the day off in the right way, to be on the right track for the rest of the day. Now, as I say, these aren't like polar opposites. You can have elements of both, and frequently do. Sometimes I get to the end of a heart study and then I'll look up something in reference material. I often want to try and think about the context where I'm doing this heart study. If I'm looking at an epistle, I will have read through the whole thing beforehand. I will have looked at some reference material beforehand so that I'm aware of what the themes are, what the context is. So I'm not just going into it blindly and just trying to take out verses out of context. And likewise, with a head study, there is transformation that occurs. There is an emotional reaction when you understand something deeply. So it is not a full distinction, but I think it's perhaps a good distinction for the main tools that I'm bringing to the table when I'm approaching these studies. Maybe this is a useful approach for you. Maybe this will help relieve some pressure or guilt if you've been feeling that way as well.